It's Christmas time and we are decorating our home using Dollar Tree items. If you've been following me, then you already know some of these projects, so just skip around to find the ones that you're interested in. So let's get started with our 2024 Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs. This video is brought to you by X Tool. For the first project, I'm using a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree. I'm spray painting the edges with my Rust-Oleum Gold spray paint. While that's drying, I'm cutting a 12-inch piece of cardboard, and I'm just using a plate to measure the piece of cardboard. I'm using an electric scissors, but a regular scissors or a box cutter will be fine. I'm using a 12-inch mirror from Amazon, and all the items I'm using, I will list them in the description box. I'm gluing the cardboard to the back of my mirror, and this will elevate the mirror and bring it to the edge of the pizza pan. Then I'll glue the mirror inside of my pizza pan. For this project, I'm making a Christmas wall decoration and I'm using the Dollar Tree bay leaves. They have a lot of glitter on them, but you can use some clear spray paint to control the glitter. And they also have different colors that you can choose from. I'm using my wire cutter to cut the large part from the stem, and then I'll just glue them in place. If you like this look, you can stop here, but I'm going to glue them closer together. Now I'll go ahead and add my hook to the back. I'm just making sure that it's centered, and I'm using this wire for my hook, and I'm using my strong adhesive. Here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. For this next project, I'm making a Christmas wall decoration in the form of a wreath, and I'm using my X-Tool S1 laser machine for this project. There's a lot that I can do with this machine, so for this project, I'm cutting some holly leaves. I'm going to be changing the color of the veins, and I'm using my paint pen to make those black. I also made a huge bow, and that's going to be the bottom of our wreath. And for the berries, I didn't know if I wanted them to be like the traditional green and red. I'm not decorating inside with red, so I spray painted them gold. The material that I'm using in my machine is 6mm MDF. So for each piece of my design, I'm adding a second layer. And this is going to make it a little bit thicker on the wall. So for my bow, I spray painted the back layer gold, and I used the white MDF for the front. So for the center, we're going to have Merry Christmas in white, and I'm also doubling up. And this wall decoration ended up being about 27 inches. If I was making this for a Christmas gift or for a client, I would use double-sided tape, but because it's mine, I'm just going to be using my thumbtacks, and I'm using my strong Gorilla adhesive to attach my thumbtacks. I place this wall decor on the wall above my sideboard, so I'm just inserting this 30-second clip to show you how I'm styling my sideboard, and then we'll move to the next project. And in the meantime, let me tell you about the sale that X-Tool has going on. They have their Black Friday sale, and if you use my code XToolPartner, you will get an extra $80 discount on your first purchase of $9.99 or more. So if owning a laser machine sparks your interest, check out the link in the description box below before the sales are gone. This is how our Christmas wall decoration is looking. I really love the way it turned out. I placed the pieces next to each other so it can look like a wreath. I'll be crafting with Dollar Tree chopping mats and Dollar Tree charger plates. The first thing you want to do is measure the inside of your charger plate, and it measures 11.5 inches. I'm just using my pencil to mark both sides of my chopping mat. Then I'm using my scissors to cut the piece, and it should fit on the inside of the charger plate just like so. The goal is to get a circle 11.5 inches. So if you have a compass, go ahead and use that. I'm just using a plate. So here's my circle. It's 11.5 inches. I'm just going to use my light, and this is the light I'll be using in my project today. I'm just going to place the light on the center on the inside so I can fold my chopping mat, and I'm just folding it over that light very tight, and I'm placing my hot glue to hold it down. So we're making a cone shape. The bottom is going to be as close as possible, as tight as possible, and the top will be open. For this project, I'm using my acrylic gems, and I'm just going to start to add my gems going right around the edges first, and that way they'll be nice and even going right around the edges. So I'm just using my hot glue, and I'm putting down a bead of glue, and then I'll attach my gems. And I'm just going to follow the seam going all the way to the end. That way I'll ensure that it's secure and it's well bonded. Now this is how the top should look, and this is the reason why I place the chopping mat inside of the charger, so I can know exactly where to stop with my gems. Now I'll start to add my gems on the inside, the same place where I stop the others on the outside. So now that I have the outline, I'll just finish adding my gems. And here it is completed. It's looking nice already. The next step, I'll be adding a balloon stake, just one. I'm just gonna be using one from this pack, and I'll cut a piece, a 12-inch piece. Okay, and I'll be using my metallic gold Rust-Oleum spray paint to spray paint both the stake and my charger plate. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and attach my hook to the back, and I'm just using a regular picture frame hook. And to attach my hook, I'm using the Aleene's mixed media adhesive. So I placed the hook aside for it to get tacky for about 2 minutes, and then I applied it to the area. Now I'm adding more glue to make sure that it's nice and secure when it's dry, and I'm also using some hot glue so I can continue with the project. So I spray painted my charger plate, and while that was drying, I'm going to be making a star. So I have a silicone surface working on. I just placed some hot glue on the surface, about 1.5 inches, and then I sprinkled some gold glitter on top. So I thought I was recording here. I'm covering up my light. This is the light that was on the inside. I'm using this rhinestone ribbon to cover my light, and I just use my scissors to cut that area right there. So when it's time for me to recharge my light, it will be easy to access. And this is the sensor for the remote, so I'm leaving that part out also, and that way I'll be able to use my remote from across the room. And this rhinestone ribbon is self-adhesive, so it's easy for me to just cut a piece and tuck it where I need to, and then cut off the excess. So now my hot glue is dry. I just shook off the excess glitter, And I'm using a marker to draw my star. I'm bad at drawing. I'm not good at drawing at all. So I'm not gonna show you how to draw the star, okay? That I can't show you. But anyhow, I figured it out, and I'm using my utility knife to cut out the shape. So here's how my star turned out. Turned out looking nice. And here's my balloon stake. I painted only half of it, so about 6 inches. Now I'll just use my hot glue to attach my star to my balloon stake. And I'm attaching it to the clear side, the clear end of my stake. Now this is how we're going to be placing our stake inside of our tree. And basically we're making a wall sconce with a Christmas tree design, okay? The next step is to glue all our pieces together. So we're going to be attaching our crystal tree to our charger, and this is where you're going to be placing the glue. I placed it in the center, but it wouldn't work, so now I'm placing it behind those gems at the bottom and right at the top. So I'm making sure that I place it in the center of my charger plate, and I'm leaving enough space for my light, and my light is going to be shining upwards, and I'm making sure that the sensor is right at the front, and I'm just making sure that it's nice and centered. And I'm also going to be gluing down my star on the back right there. And we don't have to glue it down to the light, just place it right in the center of the light and it should be good. So for my final step, I'm going to be adding these glitter vase fillers. I'm just going to use my hot glue and place them right on that chopping mat in that clear area. And this is going to give our Christmas tree a nicer look. It's just going to complete the look. It's going to add some dimension. I'm also going to be adding some around the edges on the front part, and you'll see what I mean. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. I'm going to be using 3 packs of the Dollar Tree Christmas icicles. And I'm also using a vase. I'm using the small size, which is 6 inches. I'm also using a wooden round. And I'll use my strong adhesive and my hot glue to bond both of them together. Just make sure to use a generous amount of your adhesive. And I'm using Aleene's mixed media. For this project, we are making a vase, and I'm also showing you how to use it to make a pendant light. And for this pendant light, I'm just making one, but if you have an island, you can make 3 of them, or 3 of them over your kitchen table or your dining table, and that would look very nice. I'm going to be using my garden shears to cut the hooks from these ornaments. Then I'll use my hot glue to attach the ornaments to the side of my vase. Just make sure that they're straight. You want to leave a small gap between each of your ornaments, about 1/8 of an inch. Just make sure that you're keeping them nice and aligned. Now we're going to be using 3 packs of the smaller sizes, and I'm cutting the tips off also. And for this set, I'm going to be starting it about 1/2 inch up from where I started the first ones. And I'll apply each of these ornaments right in the center of the first set. Now I'll go ahead and reinforce them with my strong adhesive. I'm doing that on the inside and also the base. Just use a generous amount of your strong adhesive since we're using this glass. The next step is to add gold contact paper, and I'm just rolling my piece across the paper just to get the measurement, and then I'll cut the piece out. And I'll be cutting my contact paper at 3.5 squares wide. The contact paper is self-adhesive, but I won't be removing the paper. I'm just going to use my hot glue and glue it down, and that way it will look nice and neat. Just glue one end, wrap it all around really tight, and then glue it onto itself. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. Now let me show you how to use it as a pendant lamp. I'm using these little small hooks and I'm just screwing it into the wooden piece. Just make sure that it's centered. And I also have this gold chain that I'm going to be using. You can find chain from the Dollar Tree. I'll try to find this one for you on Amazon and I'll link it in the description box. Just attach the chain. We're going to be using these RGB lights. They're remote control and rechargeable. It's easy to attach the lights. They come with double-sided adhesive. All you have to do is place the light inside, then twist the top off to remove it when it's time to charge them. To hook my pendant lamp to the ceiling, I'm using these drywall anchors. This is heavy-duty anchors, but you could use something lighter if you'd like. And I'm also using a cup hook. So I'll just screw the cup hook in the anchor, and here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. And for this year, I attached it to a large candle holder, and I just love the way it looks. Let me know what you think. Let's move on to our next project. We're going to be using 2 small packs of the icicle Christmas ornaments, and we're using a foam ball also. I'm going to cut the Christmas ornaments in 2. I'm trying to be consistent with my cut, so I'm cutting it in the 4th groove. Now I'll attach my ornaments with my hot glue. I'm just using my glue gun to poke a hole, and then I'm adding the glue and attaching the ornaments. The ornaments are a little bit flat on one side, so I'm attaching them in different directions. And everything I do for one side, I do it for the opposite side. If you like at least one of these projects so far, please give me a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate that. It helps out my channel. Another way that you can support my channel is by leaving me a comment. Just one word is good enough. And also help me to share this video. Just share it with one person in your contact. All right, thank you so much. I'm also using about 6 pieces that was left over from the previous project. And you can use this as a standalone accent object, or you can use it as an ornament for a Christmas tree if you have a large Christmas tree. So to use this as an ornament, just attach the half with the loop and leave the loop exposed, and that way you can attach the string and use it as an ornament. Now to cover up the foam, you can use these snow from the Dollar Tree, or you can use glitter. I'm going to be using this unicorn glitter, and to attach the glitter, I'm using my tacky glue and a pointy brush. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. And this year, I'm using it as a tree topper for my mini tree. I'll be showing you how to use Dollar Tree ornaments and mirrors to decorate your wall for Christmas. I'll be using cardboard as my frame. You can also go ahead and use foam board if you'd like. For the frame, the cardboard is going to be 2.5 inches wider than each mirror. I have 3 mirrors, 5 inches, 6 inches, and 7 inches. So the actual size for each one will be 5 inches wider than the mirror. I use my yardstick to measure each one, and I'm using my pencil to join the lines. And then I use my electric scissors to cut out my cardboard shape. If you have a compass, go ahead and use it to measure your cardboard. It will be much easier. For each of my mirror, I'm using my paint pen just to go around the black edge that will be showing. And it's a little blurry, I'm sorry, so I'm speeding up this area so you won't have to sit through it. But I'm just using my paint marker just on that edge. That's the only part that will be showing, so no need for spray painting. Next, I'll be using 1 pool noodle from the Dollar Tree, and 1 is enough for all 3 mirrors. I'm just going to use a serrated knife to cut down the center of that pool noodle, and I'm just trying to cut it as straight as possible so it will be even when I'm done. The next step is to place my mirror in the center of my cardboard frame, and I'm just using my pencil to outline that mirror, and that way I'll place my hot glue in the area and then glue my mirror in place just to make sure that everything is nice and even. Now it's time to place my pool noodle on the edge of my frame, and I'm just using my hot glue to do so. Now I'm at the end. I'll use my X-Acto knife to cut off the extra, and I'll use that piece for the second one. Now we're done with that. The next step is to add our ornaments, and I have 16 packs of ornaments, 4 sizes, and I also have a few vase fillers that I'll be using to fill the areas. So just watch as I do this, okay? I'm using my hot glue gun just to pierce the hole in the pool noodle. Then I'm placing some hot glue in the space, and this will hold the ornaments in place. And I'm just placing each one in different spots. If you feel like you need to remove them and replace them with a different color, it's very easy to remove the ball from the plug. Now it's time to attach the smaller ornaments, and I'm placing them right in that gap around the mirror. I'm trying to lay them straight where they're not overlapping the edge of my mirror. Now it's time to add our medium sizes, and for this set I'm placing the glue right on the tip of our ornaments, and I'm just placing them right on that foam. For my fourth and final row, I'll be adding more of my smaller ornaments, and I'm just using my hot glue to attach my ornaments to the previous ones. Then I'll just use my vase fillers to fill in any gaps that I have. To hang it to the wall, just use a picture frame hook. I'll be using the wire from my picture frame hook package, and I'll use my pliers to cut a small piece, and I'll just use my Aleene's mixed media adhesive to attach it to the back along with some hot glue. If you'd like to give this as a gift, you can cover the cardboard with felt, and you can get felt from the Dollar Tree. So that was the largest one. Now I'll be working on the smallest. This is the 5-inch mirror, and I'm just going to be doing the same thing, but for the edges I'll be using the medium-sized balls. I'm just going to be making 2 of them for now, since I only have 16 packs of my Christmas ornaments, but you can go ahead and make as many as you'd like. It's the same process, except I sized down on the ornaments since the mirrors are smaller. Here's how this project turned out, guys. Hope you like this one. Our next project is an outdoor Christmas tree. I'm using this bin from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using my soldering iron to cut off the handles. I'm going to be using 8 bamboo skewers, so I'm making the holes from the inside with my soldering iron. Then I'll place the skewers from the outside, making sure that they're tight. If they're not, you can use some adhesive to hold them in. Then I'll hold them all together and I'll fix them inside of this tree topper. And I got this topper from the Dollar Tree also. Now I'm adding hot glue to hold them together. I'm going to be spray painting the topper white just to match the base. Then I'm going to be using these garlands to go right around, and I'll start from the top. To make it a little bit firmer, I'm placing this piece of cloth up underneath, and that will hold the skewers in place. And I'll just continue going all the way around until I get to the end, the top of the bucket. Now it's time to decorate our Christmas tree. I'm using red garlands from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going all the way around, starting from the top. I'm also using this large red bow, and I'll place it right at the top of the tinsels. And I'm also adding ornaments, and I'm adding red balls. And we're done with this DIY Christmas tree, guys. Let me know what you think about this project. Let's move on to our next project. This is not from the Dollar Tree, but I'm making it for myself this year and I want to share it with you. This is a turf mat. I got it from Amazon, but this can be done with any doormat, and the Dollar Tree sells doormats, okay? I'm just making a Christmas tree from this turf. So I'm using my yardstick to cut out the shape of a Christmas tree. I'm just finding the center of my turf, and then I cut from the center to the opposite end. So I could make two mats if I wanted to join the end pieces. I'm going to put them together, and then I'm going to cut a straight line just like so. And then I'll have two extra pieces. This is one of the extra piece. I'm just clipping it down a bit because this turf is fluffy, a little bit too fluffy to be stenciled on, but I did it anyway. This will be the trunk of the tree, so I'm using my black Flex Seal to spray paint it. I'm outlining a garland shape around my Christmas tree, so I'm using my marker to do that, and then I'll use my red Flex Seal to outline my mark. I'm making a stencil with my X-Tool S1 laser machine. I'm making stars and ornaments. For the ornament balls, I'm going to be placing those right along the edge of my garland, and I'm using my white Flex Seal for these. This turf floor mat is on the fluffier side, so the balls aren't going to come out as straight, but they do sell thinner floor mats, and those would be more suitable for this project. I'm doing the same thing for my stars using my white Flex Seal, and I'm just placing the different size stars in random areas. Now this is a lidded floor mat, so we're going to be adding solar lights to this mat. I'm using my soldering iron to poke holes going right around the garland and also on the balls and the stars. Just make sure that if you're doing this project, you're doing this outside, okay? And I was also wearing a respirator, so just make sure to protect yourself. I'm going to be using a large needle and some weaving thread to sew my trunk to my tree. And this part is actually easy. It's just 4 knots that I'm placing. Now this is my solar light. It's red and white. So I'm going to be placing the red in the garland area and the white in the stars and the ornaments. So we have every other light is red. We're going to be left with a few lights that didn't make it through, but you can use some duct tape to cover those up. And I started adding my lights from the end that I want to place my solar battery pack. Now our Christmas tree doormat is all completed. Let me know if you like this DIY project. Here it is at night, and we have different modes for the lights. Let me know which of these projects were your favorite this week and if you'll be recreating any of them. If you missed my previous video, here it is on the screen. Just click that rectangular box to watch. Also, please remember to check out that X-Tool link in the description box below. Alright, thank you so much. Take care and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.